Before reviewing this film, I need to answer multiple questions that people probably already have. First question is the Antichrist in the film? The answer is no, he's not in the film. This film only takes place a little bit before and the day of the rapture. The Antichrist does not show up in the film. He is actually going to be in the sequel, as said by the directors and producers of the first film. And in my opinion, from seeing the film, I can see how it's easily setting up for the future and him to show up. They did say that the second movie is going to follow the rest of the book. Second question is, does this film even talk about God? I feel like it's just another Hollywood big budget film that ignores God and distorts the Bible. Answer is no. This film is nothing like Noah or Exodus. It actually follows the Bible very well. Now, if you don't agree with the theology, I don't know what to tell you, but they very much follow the Bible, whether you agree with them or not. With that out of the way, let me review Left Behind. I read all 16 books in 4 months. I was so excited for this new film to come out. I saw the old ones. I was like, they're okay at best. So the question really is this new film better than the old ones? Stay tuned. Alright, so here's a quick spoiler-free synopsis. Rayford Steele is a commercial pilot who, in his mind, finds that Irene is too obsessed with God. Really obsessed. It's actually destroying their marriage. He has 2 children, Chloe and Raimi. Chloe is in college. She's a female, obviously, and she is on Rayford's side. She does not believe God. She is not on the same page. Raimi, on the other hand, is like 10 or 11, and he does. He's on the side with his mom. Chloe flies in for her dad's birthday, which he didn't know she was coming, and he's actually working that day. And I don't really want to ruin anything else, as you can probably see where it's going. If not, even better. First, what was done correctly? Pretty much the entire second half of the film, in my opinion. You get what you expected with the rapture. People going crazy, cars crashing, planes crashing. It's insane. People just disappear. People are robbing everybody. It is craziness. It actually gave me goosebumps when I watched it. And once I was writing the review and writing up the script for this review, I got goosebumps as well. The rapture happens in such a way that even though you know it's in the film, even though you know it has to happen, it still hits you as like a, whoa, seriously? It was out of absolutely nowhere. To say that no man knows what's going to happen, they weren't kidding. I did like the casting choices for Chloe and Buck. At first, I was a little hesitant on Buck, but as him and Chloe interacted, I was like, okay, this makes sense. These two work well together. And it's a good thing they signed on for the sequel. I will be happy to see them again in the sequel together. They had good chemistry, their conversations felt real, which is good because the script was not all that well written. Which leads into the negative things. First things first, this soundtrack is terrible. The music is just bad. I mean, we're in an action disaster film, and I'm hearing music that's so clearly stock. It's just bad. And then Chloe, while she's not a Christian, is driving in a car and listening to Christian music. It's like, what? What are you talking? Is this God's Not Dead? Is this God's Not Dead? The opening scene was easily the worst scene in the entire movie by a mile. If you turned off the movie after that opening scene, I understand. It was pretty bad. Basically, you got this woman going up to Buck, and Buck's a news reporter, going up to Buck and asking him if he believes the Bible, and then she proceeds to Bible beat him. It is so bad. I don't understand. I don't understand why it was in the film. It was a terrible choice. Luckily, the cheesiness kind of went away after that. Most of it. Of course, the biggest question you have is about Nicolas Cage. Did he do a good job? I mean, he didn't do a not the beast job, but he did an okay job. I find that the biggest issue with Nicolas Cage in this film is that he is in the cockpit for 80% of his scenes, and he's not interacting with anybody really. And it just doesn't make any sense, because if you've read the first book, I don't know, man, it didn't make any sense. Rayford doesn't really interact with any people, and he just comes off as bland. Another weird thing I noticed is by the end of the film, which is like the end of the first day of the rapture, most of the chaos has died down. In fact, you would think that the streets of New York would be like jam-packed with traffic and people would still be like crying and stuff, and no, traffic's pretty much clear. I understand this is a movie, but that sucks out the realism. The action was a mix of good and bad. Good parts of the action were anything that was done without CGI, such as driverless cars going through the mall, planes just crashing into parking lots. Those were some pretty good scenes. Where the action was bad was anything that CGI was used, especially in the daytime. They have a daytime scene where, as I mentioned before, a plane crashed in the parking lot. They mix CGI and a real life plane. The problem with this is that the CGI plane looks so obviously fake. It's like 2004, even though this movie was made in 2014. I want to clarify that the movie Cloverfield was made 6 years prior on $25 million, and nothing in that film looked fake at all. So, I know this can't be a budget issue. Thankfully, there's not that many moments that CGI looks bad, because once you hit nighttime, the CGI is mostly covered up by it being nighttime. So it got better when it was at night, and they probably should have stuck with all their CGI shots at night. Lastly, how was God and Jesus brought into this film? Don't fret, they were there. They weren't referred to cryptically like in Noah. In fact, I believe that the scenes where they were that they were talked about, it was very much forced, and that was the bad part for me. It was like, just put it right in your face, and that's not how a movie's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be story above message, man. And they just went, it seemed like they were trying to do that, and then the message would just be like, nope, I'm going a button. It was just very much in your face sometimes, and it was unnecessary. It needs to be more well integrated in the future. What I did find weird was that the word rapture is never used, and it reminded me of a zombie movie where no one ever says the word zombie. Like, how is no one left on Earth going to say the word rapture? Like, oh, this is people disappearing. I feel like there's a word for this. I just don't know what it is. Overall, this is a decent movie with potential for an even better sequel. I hope the directors learn from their mistake, though these are the same people that made the old Left Behind. So I'm not crossing my fingers and holding my breath that the sequel will be better, but it has potential to be better. I know you may be wondering what the content is in this movie. There isn't any language. There isn't anything really bad outside the action scenes of people disappearing, cars crashing, stuff like that. I can easily recommend this to the whole family. It might scare younger kids when people disappear, though if you've explained to them what it is, they probably won't have any issue. It's nothing horrifying. I do need to clarify, there is one scene where a woman is doing drugs, though it doesn't show her doing the drugs. As an adult, you can tell she just did drugs. However, kids probably won't catch on. Just letting you know that it's there, though. Overall, I'd say this movie is a 7.5 out of 10. It's worth a rent. I say 7.5 because I have a guilty pleasure for Left Behind, even though the movies aren't that great. But for most people, it'll probably be closer to 6 to 7. No, some people just hate Christian films in general because they have the word Christian in them. But for most people, this would be a 6 to 7. For me, 7.5. Rent it, check it out. If you like it, obviously buy it, which is what most people do. Thanks for checking out this Real Geeks review of Left Behind. Subscribe for more content. Real Geeks is on Tuesdays, so check us out on Tuesdays if you like movie reviews. We got more coming your way. Maybe we could do a Real Geeks review of Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, now I'm saying.